All right, it is March 18th, 2020. It's day two of this so-called shelter in place. Um, I don't know if I can make it hunkering down for 2 weeks. I got some really screwed up neighbors, and spending the whole day around them is not going to make me feel any better. That's for sure. Last night was okay. It was kind of empty out there somewhat, but nonetheless, there were still people walking around. That's a little concerning. Like I said, it's not an official lockdown. It's pretty much it's just you can go and shop for essentials, but you just can't go to gatherings and restaurants and stuff like that. The whole country seems to be the East Coast. I know New York and Connecticut and I believe Philly and New Jersey, they're adopting the same thing that California's adopting. So you're all going to get hit too with this recommended shelter in place. But anyhow, what am I going to do today? Nothing here. I am going out. I am getting some essentials, I guess you can say. That's the key word here, essentials. I'm going to go ahead. I have to go hop on the BART train, which ought to be kind of interesting, seeing as BART is taking a big hit. Nobody's hopping on it. Hopefully I'll be the only one on it, but I do have to leave. And I'm looking out the window right out here, and people are coming and going. And hopefully it stays raining, because if it's raining, there's going to be less likelihood of people walking around. So that's a big plus too. So let's go. Let's see what's going on day two of the shelter in place and try to make the most of it.
Well, so far this morning, kind of almost looks like business as usual. And I apologize if you see me keep turning my head, looking behind me. I don't trust anybody like joggers and bicyclists. They don't give a shit. But for the most part, it's 10 a.m. and I'm looking around, and as you can see, this is pretty strange for this area, having no cars on a Tuesday at 10 a.m. But as you can see, you got to move out of the way. I had to walk in the street just to avoid some of these people. People just really aren't kind of catching on to the whole, social distancing thing. Sorry about that. This guy almost ran me over. But for the most part, god damn, he had hell. This car smelled like booze coming out of it. God, I hope he's not drunk and driving. But anyhow, for the most part, it does look a little slower. I'm going to dare to go into a 7-Eleven to get a cup of coffee. Probably not the smartest thing to do, but, I need my cup of Joe in the morning, you know what I mean? So, and I don't mean that douchebag on MSNBC too. Fuck that Joe. Pretty much. Yeah, he's gone now. Some guy was coming right towards me. And this guy, he's got his mask on. He's not messing around right there. But I had stuck my hand out because he wasn't going to move. And I wasn't going to, kind of walk into some bushes. I could have walked into the street again, but I didn't want to get hit by a car. At that time, there was traffic coming. And I just kind of said, hey, just doing this. Getting that hand out. Oops. Letting people know, hey, 6 feet, I got a pretty good reach, so if you're not going to touch my hand, we're going to have big problems, But he sat there and he mumbled some shit in Spanish, which is a big mistake, because if you live in California, especially in the East Bay, you're going to learn some fucking Spanish over time, and you're going to understand what people say. And so when I came out and called him a pinche madre, he did not like that. And I don't care. Stay the fuck away from me. Stay 6 feet, Now, just a few seconds ago, that jogger that had passed by me, he already did a loop around this whole block, which is pretty amazing because this is a humongous block. So he was doing making some time. But I stuck out the hand, and he looked right at me. Not a problem. He said, thank you. And I said, no, thank you. And I think there are people out there that get it, and we have to be this way, unfortunately, for a month or so. So, yeah, don't somebody stick out their hand, or, just be courteous. That's all. But yeah, people are getting it. So far, what I've seen in the past 20 minutes is half the people get it as far as social distancing, and the other half doesn't. I come out of the 7-Eleven to get my brew. And yes, I really minimized my exposure to surfaces, and I did stay 6 feet away from the cashier, but I know the cashier, and he got it. He understood, and he was doing the same thing, actually. So, but yeah, just coming out, the local homeless guy, he was sitting there asking for money and a lighter, and I just told him no, and in his mind, I was being rude, and so he had something to say, and I had to remind him kindly that, hey, we're under a pandemic. This is a real thing going on here. So I don't know if a police officer ever came up to him and told him, or if he knows, or if he even cares. He looked pretty out of it and whacked out, so he probably just doesn't even care. And those are the people. I'm not going to give you my lighter, and I'm sure, and if I give you money, I'm just going to throw it at you. I'm not going to hand it to you. So I'm not going to throw money at a person. That's really bad. That's plain disrespectful. And we already got plenty of that in the world. But after that, and he mumbled something that, wasn't too nice, but it's okay. I got educated and moved on, and that was it. I'll probably see him again, and he'll probably forget, because he was probably drunk out of his mind. And afterwards, there was this couple that was walking by, and they're walking up the sidewalk, and I'm walking up the sidewalk, and I took it upon myself to just kind of go into the street. There was no traffic, and to pass them by. And the dopey boyfriend kind of looks at me, gives me a dopey, comment or something like that, and I kind of turn around and say, what's so funny, He mumbled something. I said, something about, he's scared. Or I heard the word scared. I don't know. I think he was just trying to make a joke for his girlfriend. But I told him around, I say, hey, you two lovebirds over there, if you guys want to hold hands and be lovey-dovey, that's fantastic. But, if you get sick, don't sit there and cry like a bunch of babies, because it's going to happen to you if you have that kind of attitude, And then again, through his dirty beard that he had, he was mumbling something. And I just kind of went, yeah, fuck you, I just kind of walked on, I don't want nobody to die or anything, but he might need a little dose of the old, the old CV. I kind of educate him. He didn't look too hygienical, him and his woman, so they're more than likely going to be cases right there. So it's just those people right there that really kind of irritate me, that really do not take this seriously, and I have been noticing that. But again, like the jogger earlier, he did, he acknowledged when I put my hand out, and he did kind of, said thank you. He thanked me, and I guess, and I thanked him back. I thought that was kind of interesting. So people are getting it, and it's just something we got to do for the next couple of months. I'm about almost halfway to the BART station. I'm hoping everybody's saying that the BART system is pretty much low ridership. And to me, that's a plus. I'm pretty sure they are sanitizing the hell out of those train cars. For me, less people, better. I'll just jump in either the very front of the car, very front of the train in the first car, or in the back in the rear car at the very rear seat. And that's what I always do, especially now, more than ever. And so I'm not too worried about that. People seem to be mindful even on the train. I have noticed that. So we'll see. I still have a couple things I have to do, and then I'm going to play it safe, and I'm just going to go straight home and do some Netflix binging. I think that might be a good idea for today. So onward towards Oakland. Here we go. Over here at Kaiser nearby, just to use the restroom because the coffee was hitting me pretty good. And they're on it. They asked me if I had an appointment. They want to know what my business was here. Everywhere you go, there's hand washing stations and sanitizer. So I went ape shit crazy with my hands. I'm surprised I didn't scrub off my skin. You know what I mean? A nice little talk with the nurse. And said this is the way it's going to be for a couple months. So, see one of the maintenance workers here at BART, and we were just talking about ridership and how much it's gone down, and yeah, it has. Look behind me. Look right here. There is nobody here. It's commute time, and that's very, very strange. He did say people were, still going to work and everything. Probably against advice. But for the most part, if you kind of look around, here's the bus terminal around here. There's, the buses are going, but the people aren't. You know what I mean? I am just absolutely amazed how much it is kind of like a ghost town. I am going on the very last car. That's how I do it. Probably there's some other people here too. Probably as smart as I am. Only one guy, and he's sleeping over there. Came out of Safeway to pick up something real quick, like a sandwich, and I just couldn't even take a minute to stand in there. It was so bad. And I don't mean it was crowded. It was fairly normal. But people are they're just absolutely clueless. I mean, I'm seeing people just coughing and walking by each other like it's nothing. I don't get it, I mean, I really should have put on a GoPro or something and filmed all this shit. I mean, I must have told like 3 or 4 people just in the 2 minutes I was in a Safeways to space, mind your space, And I said it politely, and they look at me like I'm just crazy. I don't know what the fuck is up with people. People are just not understanding. Well, you can look across the street right over there. That's the local methadone clinic. And there is a crowd of people waiting for their methadone. So even they're hurting right now. There's some people that are pretty much aching right now, it looks like. So, but they're all hanging around, so I can only assume, I guess they're going to open up for those guys. So yeah, coronavirus is kind of, you know what, I'm not going to use that term anymore. I'm going to say CV, abbreviated, because I've been hearing about YouTube. I'll get into that later. They're demonetizing people for using that word. But yeah, looks like the methadone people are in a world of hurt too. I think I'm done for the day. It's been a long day. I've walked so far. I took the moment to stop right here at my park nearby before I head home. I'm not too excited to go home. I could probably hear my neighbors acting stupid, because they're home from their jobs. So as long as I got my, I think I'm pretty safe. It's about good 6 feet around here, distance from everybody, so I'm cool. So I'm going to just kind of hang out here for a few minutes. It's starting to rain, but I just wanted to say, I happened to walk into a store today, and I think the manager had a really good idea. And what he did was lay out tape every 6 feet going up to his register for customers to stop and know their distance from other people. And I think that's a really good idea that needs to be implemented with big chains, because it was a small chain that did it. Not even a chain, it was just a small business, store owner, small business. And but anyhow, yeah, Safeways, Vons, whatever, Lucky's, implement that idea, as well as implement the limitations on purchases of hand sanitizer and toilet roll and all the other crap that people are going nutso over. if they enforce that at the register, you know, people will start, you know, calming down maybe and say, hey, okay, maybe I'm just acting a little crazy with the toilet paper, you know. But I did go by a couple stores, and except for that Safeways, they weren't going ape shit crazy. They were just kind of, you know, at normal pace, but people weren't implementing any safe spacing, you know. So that triggers me. I think what I'm just going to do is, after the quick little visit here at the park, I'm going to stay and have a couple sandwiches, maybe make a cheeseburger, check out Netflix for the next few days, and, you know, maybe kind of go out and, you know, do my evening walk when there's less people out and about. And that's just kind of how I'm going to do that. With that, I think I'm done. I'll check in tomorrow, see what's going on. But you guys be safe out there. Make sure you wash the hands. That's very important. And 6 feet rule, man. You know me. 6 foot. I don't know how many times I got to say that. 6 foot rule. And stay indoors as much as possible. You know, only go out for essentials, even though there's people out there just not doing it. But don't be like them, because they might get sick. You know what I mean? That being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will check in with you guys later. Peace.